today. After having welcomed almost 9,000 participants that have joined us from all over the world, we are truly happy to welcome you back on board for our third season and very first episode of the 360 Degrees of Product Design Masterclass series. In less than 3 episodes, we are covering the full workflow of product design, from how to get started and why to how to apply agile methodologies when your product launch has failed. Welcoming you today on the Product Design Red Pill. A little bit of fantastic speaker's background. Mr. Federico Pizzuto has almost 20 years of experience in design and innovation, helping startups, agencies, and SMEs integrate design and business strategies. Over the past years, he's been leading the Interaction Design Foundation, which is the biggest online product design school with over 9,000 graduates, acting as a manager and coach. He also works as a UX expert for one of the leading tech companies in Luxembourg, Dokla Holding. And when with his family and friends, he enjoys cooking, baking, and riding his motorbike long distance. We are also joined by none other than Mr. Emra Zaribas from the Berlin office at N26. Today, one of the highest valued and well-funded companies globally, at which Emra has been leading talented designers as a lead product designer since 2019. Prior to N26, he contributed to a variety of products over the past 10 years within various industries as a designer and UX expert. During his out of his office hours, he mentors industry professionals and newcomers. Outside of his love of design, Emra enjoys playing basketball, cooking, and camping. I can't believe that we have two cooks on the panel today. That's fabulous. Joining us from the N26 Vienna office, we welcome Emmanuel Militia, lead product designer and lecturer. He describes his work by fusing knowledge of psychology and human-computer interaction, designing user experiences in collaboration with clients from all over the world. He's currently focused on design leadership and data-driven design, automotive UX, and human psychology. On the motivator side, we have a very special guest today, Miss Marion Massot, one of the latest and youngest recruits at the PwC Experience Center in Luxembourg, led by none other than Mr. Gregory Weber. Shout out to you, Mr. Weber. Marion is a trained researcher and designer who's passionate about her craft and who used to have her own podcast on the topic of design thinking in French with over 50 episodes. She's a highly talented individual, and it's her very first public appearance. Thank you very much for being with us, Marion, and for taking this challenge on a very short notice. Marion, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Zola, for reaching out to us and for giving me the opportunity to welcome all of you on today's session, the Design Thinking Red Pill, joined by our gentlemen, Emra and Emmanuel, both design leaders at N26, and Federico Pizzuto, local leader of the Interaction Design Foundation and UX leader at Dokla Holding. So, gentlemen, let's go to the first question, talking user experience. As one of the leading neobanks in Europe, how could you describe UX as a key factor for your success? Emra, please, and Emmanuel, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for having us here. At N26, we always like to say that we always strive to make simple banking that the world loves to use, and we are in a well-established banking industry, so we needed to find our differentiation factor. And for us, one of the differentiation factors is actually a strong focus on high-quality user experience that will eventually make people good about their finances. So, in short, that would be our description of how we use user experience as a key factor. In short, that would be it. I don't know if Emra has anything else to add.
Yeah, actually, you explained it very perfectly, Emmanuel. Thanks for doing so. What I can add on top of that, actually, the UX is at the heart of everything in N26 right now. Whatever we do, we actually try to solve or understand the user needs, first of all. And while understanding the user needs and the problem, we try to create a competitor advantage on that. As Emmanuel mentioned that, eventually our goal is to create the simple, transparent, and easy to use product. It gives us the opportunity to be the great bank and the great service for our customers. And of course, that positive experience, what we have learned from other users and when we create competitive advantage, that creates a desirable design that keeps users actually too loyal to our product and the brand at the end. So that's definitely very crucial.
So interesting. So guys, let's follow up with two other questions. Could you please now, for the people's understanding, explain how the company is structured to stay on the latest trends and how you decide on the implementation, specifically at N26? Emmanuel, please.
That's also a great question. Thanks, Marianne, about it. It is hard to describe that, how to actually stay ahead on and the keeping up with the latest trend. But the best thing in N26 is that it is part of our goal, actually. Well, one of our goal is to integrate the most innovative technologies, actually to make the life easier for our customers and enabling our users to live and bank their way. So as it is our one of the main goals, actually, it becomes the responsibility of everyone in the company. We are not especially focusing or we don't have the specific teams just focus on the new technologies or the trends and N26. It's kind of spread it around to everyone or to every employee who contributes to the product and the experience itself. We also have very useful, actually, I love that, the Get Stuff Done days, we call it. Every 6 weeks, all company members actually sit together and works on their own project all 2 days. And it might be any project you want to integrate in the product or enhance the user experience. I can give you an example on that. For example, we recently launched our dark mode. Emmanuel was running the project, actually. It's also built up and initiated during the Get Stuff Done days. So that's great to see that improvements and the trends implemented in N26 and the improving the user experience. How we decide on the implementation, especially N26, actually, we believe on the autonomy in the product team. There is no specific rule that we implement or we decide the implementation on this way. Actually, it depends on the team and their decision. What we do, actually, what we believe while doing the implementation, we believe in the research and the data. I am not telling you that we are data-driven, but we are data-informed companies. We are looking and tracking most meaningful data for us, and we utilize the research for sure to understand the most valuable customer or the user needs to implement the meaningful features or the trends in our application and the product. It would be great if Emmanuel had something on top of that.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. I think that the greatest thing is that we always have, those kind of topics for each year, and then each team has autonomy to decide which initiatives will actually influence those topics. And what is good about that is that everyone has their own ways of working. Everyone has their own ways of organizing how to work, and we all move towards the same goal. And especially when you know that you have, for example, those Guest of Done days, when you can really test things and try things that are not on your, like on your project timeline. This is also one thing that keeps you, like more free and willing to try new things. And yeah, eventually, a lot of things besides dark mode. We also had scan your IBAN so that you can fast input IBAN from someone who sent you this number. We know that typing this number can be painful. So yeah, we can also have, scan QR code. If someone's sending you money, they can just send you QR code with everything filled in. So yeah, those kind of things are keeping us up to pace with all the new things in the world. Yeah.
So thank you, Emra. Thank you, Emmanuel, for your sharing. So now, Federico, now up to you. Federico, you've been involved in a high-growth company for the last 10 years. How would you describe UX as a key factor to the company's success?
Hi all, thank you for the question. When I joined the company was already set up for the success. They were already working and producing high quality, let's say, products. What was missing was a lot of communication across teams. So people were working a lot of isolations, and so there were a lot of missing opportunities going the way. So UX was able, for when I joined, to start, let's say, creating bridges across all the teams and start involving in cross functional larger groups of people for each project. This allowed the company to actually increase the I can say the quality of the outcome. This way, also the UX had the was able to build up the reputations that was a valid business support in the operational phase, helping the communications and define the better objectives.
So thank you, Federico. Another question for you. Is there any outstanding learning experience that you would like to share with the audience in particular?
Oh, well, learning. I'd say with Interaction Design Foundation, I had the opportunity to work in the learning path of a lot of wannabe designer mostly, and I think it's an important opportunity for me and for anyone to be able to share whatever we know and the knowledge as much as possible. So the mentorship and the coaching is actually helping. There are always then opportunity to learn, not necessarily through these channels and courses, so even inside the company. So every project is an excuse and opportunity that can build up the knowledge of the entire group of people involved. And this is something that we should take advantage each time and try to capitalize all the at the end of each project, at least. I don't know if I answered fully to your questions, because this might be a really broad argument. Let me know.
No, it's okay. Thank you, Federico. I define myself like as a kind of design geek or designer. So based on your experience, what's the right balance between quantitative and qualitative research? And how can we find it? What are the strengths and weaknesses? Please, Federico.
Well, qualitative and quantitative research are both fundamental important. They are equal importance into the process. It's incredibly important to set up quantitative metrics and to track each data possible that can highlight when something is not working as expected. But what is missing is obviously the reasons for that events, and that's why the qualitative needs to be paired with the quantitative. That way we can actually go deeper into the analysis and identify what might be the behavior and the real reason behind that leads then to generate insights useful for proper resolutions on the product level or on the project. About the balance between the two, it's hard to say. I want to say that it's easier. The quantitative is a bit easier because it's mostly automated and requires less effort to go through after it's set it up. The qualitative instead requires a bit more work and focus, because it requires to analyze and connect the dots across different informations and try to understand really what they are. So it might requires also more time. That just to say that probably in the current world and way of work with Agile, the balance is kind of 70-30, probably 70 quantitative, 30 qualitative, and aiming for more, but it's not easy to find the right time and opportunity to do that. I wouldn't say, is it the right balance? And it is, if it's possible to produce valuable insights and outcomes. So it means that it's at least enough. Good. The way to find it out how much is try to stop time to time and go through the knowledge that has been collected and see if that knowledge is used or not, and if it's still relevant. So if we don't do that step, that is, it becomes difficult to evaluate if we are on the right, let's say, balance.
And could you sum up what are their strengths and weaknesses of both?
Well, quantitative, it's obviously easy to connect at business level. It's the language that business understand the most, and so it is the strongest part of it is that we can actually measure what is really happening on our product, so we can see the effect of what we are doing, or at least part of it. On the other hand, the cons is that we are missing exactly the reason behind that. So we don't have a clue why that is happening exactly. So there's a lot of assumptions. That's why the qualitative enters with these benefits and pros, which is about the capability to dig deeper, to get in contact with users and to start understanding what are the mental models and reason behind that behavior. The cons is the cost and time, because to proper set up a qualitative research requires a big effort in planning and scheduling, and then going through the analysis of the collected informations that are not just numbers. So that's, I can say, in the simpler way, the difference.
Absolutely, I agree. So now a question for you three. I know, guys, that you are going to describe more in detail during your workshops, but how would you recommend our innovators on the call, both startups and scale-ups, to get started implementing UX principles? What would you recommend, and would you recommend not to do? So, want to share in first? Emmanuel?
I can maybe start. So yeah, I mean, we all know about, like heuristic principles, overall design principles, stuff like that. So it's always good to start with the basics. But my advice would be definitely to define your UX principles for your company. So there are actually two ways to do this. You can use like top-down approach, and you can use bottom-up approach. And my recommendation is actually to use both ways, since top-down approach is actually, it's talking about what's your company mission, strategy, like what are your KPIs and this business side. And then if you go with bottom-up approach, then you're talking about user's voice. So some usability testing, user interviews, customer surveys, market research, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I will go into more details about that, how we use those things at 26 during the workshop. But I definitely recommend to making this for your own company. And what not to do is not to hand over this task to one person. It's actually collaborative activity, and you all need to be aligned with that so that you can eventually apply those principles to your company, to your product.
Emra, Federico, do you want to add something?
I don't have anything to add on top of that, Emmanuel. I totally agreed on that. Maybe one thing I can add, how we can actually getting started implementing the UX principles. UX principles basically understanding the user needs at the bottom. So I would recommend to start with listening to users and creating continuous, for example, user research, and iterate on the learnings might be the first step to take on for each scale ups and the startups.
Great. Federico, do you want to add something, or you with your colleagues?
Yeah, I agree with both what they said. For sure, yeah, that the foundation is the research. So setting up, as Emmanuel said, a proper research process and knowledge collections and share is key to build a proper UX practice and to have everyone aware and involved on what knowledge can unlock. After that, it really depends on the status and the phase of the startup when they start thinking about introducing the UX as a process. But let's say that there's no one unique way to do that. It really ends up on the people motivations and desire to improve the product, and that means that everyone can start it. Doesn't matter if it's a designer or a developer or a product owner or whoever. The important part is that they set up a proper research and collaborations with the team. On top of that, everything can just improve easily.
So thank you for your insights. Now, Emmanuel and Emra, back to you. At N26, you've scaled rapidly. So could you please share with us how you are overcoming cultural barriers and how you mentor and train new recruits to succeed as a team?
I will jump in here if Emmanuel excuses me. And thank you very much for the question. This is actually very important for N26. And that's really crucial for us to hire the right person who fits in our company culture. So what does mean the right person actually? This might be the important part of that. The right person is that we try to figure out who we are looking for, what kind of skills we are looking for, what kind of actually the cultural, what's our company culture. What we try to assess each candidate very carefully with multiple recruitment steps during the hiring, even to figure out, to see that the overcome cultural barriers we might face in the future. So this is the first part of it. This is during the hiring process and even before the hiring process. But this is on, as I said, this is on the first part. The second part is, as you asked me, that how we are going to mentor them and to train the new recruits to success. So that's also we try to build and create very detailed onboarding program, and even to assess designers. Also, in our case, I'm managing designers, so my role is also covers to assess the designers' hard and soft skills, and to help them grow on their role and on their expectation, and to become the better designers in N26 in their career at the same time. We also believe that on top of that, UX maturity of the company depends on the UX knowledge of each employee. So at the same time, we try to implement the UX methodologies as a part of our agile system and how ways of working in N26. And we believe that if we can implement more, or if we can utilize the UX methods or the knowledge more in the company, we will be more mature at the end. I hope I could answer your question.
Perfectly. Emmanuel, do you want to add something, or it's okay for you?
No, it's okay. I mean, I think one other thing that I would like to add is oversharing. So as when you have a lot of people, you have repeat a lot of things, and sometimes you have people on the meeting that hear these things for a third or fourth time. But I think it's a good practice, especially when you onboard a lot of new people all the time. So yeah, that would be just my addition to that.
Yeah. So to continue on this topic, many entrepreneurs are failing to create a connection with their customers. From a product design perspective, how would you say you were able to make difference there? What N26 has done to connect the dots?
Yeah, so I will jump in this one. I think we already answered this question, which is good that we repeat it again. I think that here research is the key word. So if you want to know what happens, if you want to really figure out what are your next steps. If you really want to connect the dots, you really need to be part of people's lives. You don't need to be another thing they need to do. So by doing research, you're actually finding out ways of how can you fit into their daily lives. I also like to say that beside the research, I think it's also very important to know where do you play. So I really like the book from Roger Martin that's Playing to Win strategy. So I really need to know where you're playing first, so that you know what you're looking for. Of course, if you don't know where you want to play, you will use again research. So yeah, it's all about research and empathizing with your users and their behaviors and their needs. Especially at N26, what we try to do, we try to gather all kinds of qualitative and quantitative data on daily basis. Like we are nonstop in contact with customer support, reviews on app stores. We are all the time checking our social channels. We are of course having data analysts team that are helping us. So we try to fetch all this data and all kind of qualitative and quantitative feedback, so that we can connect the dots properly and to fit into the lives of our users and not the other way around.
Completely line up with you. So now, question for you three. You might have heard everyone is a designer. So how do you see the role of all stakeholders in your design process? What is their concrete involvement in it? So, Federico, you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. That's a long debate and discussion on this sentence with a lot of misunderstanding around it. Let's say that it's partially correct to say that everyone is a designer. From my perspective, what I mean is that everyone has the possibility to influence the design of the product, and this means that it has an impact. It doesn't mean that it's really a designer, because a designer has specific type of skill set and knowledge that not everyone might have. So that's why I say it's partially true. That said, the stakeholder is fundamental to be involved from day one, obviously, because it's not only the main client that we also have to take in considerations internally, but it's also because it might have a lot of knowledge that we are not aware of in terms of strategy, directions, business knowledge, especially, that we need to take in consideration. Because whatever we design for, it's true, it's the user that we need to take in consideration, because this is our role. But we work still for a company, so we need to find the right connection between the needs and the business goals. So we need to have them involved, and we need them to have the possibility to provide feedback through the entire process.
I can jump in here. I love this quote, everyone is a designer, but I heard lots of time probably from Jared Spool. Please, someone can correct me if I am wrong. He mentioned that everyone is a designer, but not everyone is a good designer, but everyone can become a better designer. That's really, really important part, because the key is that we are the UX leaders in this call right now. Our main job is to increase the UX knowledge and the maturity of everyone on the team. What I mean, but in the team, it is not only the designers, the product people, engineers, or data, the marketing, whoever actually part of this team. It's also our responsibility to create this maturity. How we can do that? Definitely, training is the one part of it, but the training shouldn't be isolated from our daily work. So what does it mean? It means that this training or the learning or the sharing should be integrated, or the part of our designs, our sprints, agile sprints, or any other method you use. It might be the Kanban. It's up to the team, but it should be integrated and it should be embedded, the process. And first of all, repetition is our friend, and we need to use it. We need to iterate on it. We need to share more, and everyone can contribute on that. By this way, actually, I believe personally, everyone can become a better designer. So repetition is the key in here, and the trainings.
Great. So finally, the last question for you three. How would you explain and demystify UX design for our listeners? Emmanuel, you want to share?
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, I mean, I will probably repeat myself from the previous questions. I think that UX design is basically user's voice in the company. So it's actually a way of empathizing with users. So you need to fit into the context of users' life, needs and behaviors so that you can succeed as a company and not the way around. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to demystify UX design, I would just say, okay, this is user voice because in the company we have a lot of business voices. So someone needs to make a balance.
Right. Emra, Federico, do you want to clarify something?
I totally agree with Emmanuel, and maybe I can add on top of that. Actually, it is part of the UX design. Also, the designer's role is that we are responsible to know how good design looks like. Definitely, we are the representation of the users in the company and the decisions. But on top of that, we are also the UX design is part of the end result, the product itself, and the experience. So UX design is also responsible for creating this desirable experience for the customers. It is not only understanding the problems, it also creates an desirable outcome at the end. So I could add what Emmanuel said.
Great. So thank you, gentlemen, for taking all the questions. Now we want to go into the quiz before heading into the workshops. Anthony, are you there?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florian. Thank you to all the speakers. Now we want to see whether the audience has paid attention. All you need to do is to click on to put in the first and last name in the access link that I've just dropped in the public chat, and you'll be able to take part in the quiz. The questions have been compiled by our speakers, and it's going to be fun. So if you win, if you score, you'll be able to introduce yourself to the crowd. So please go ahead.
Here we go. Let's go, guys. We want to go up to 20 at the very least. To all the UX designers out there who've paid attention, we want to see what you got. We want to go up to 20 people. Let's go. Family name and first and last name. Let's go, guys. We want to go up to 20. We want to go up to 20. Let's go, guys. 10 more seconds. Let's go up to 20. Let's go. 5 more seconds. Let's go, guys. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have 3 minutes to score. Let's go, guys. Go ahead. You got 3 minutes. Alpha is leading. Gkama Jefferson, second place. Gkama is leading right now. Who's SSS? Let's go, guys. You got 2 minutes and a half left. Let's go, guys. Gkama is still leading. Let's go, guys. One minute and 40 seconds left. Seconds. Mr. Alpha is leading. Let's go, guys. 1 minute left. Alpha is leading. Multiple assists. Huge third place. Let's go, guys. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds to score. Mr. Zabaz is still leading. Huge Stefan. Let's go, guys. 20 seconds left. Let's go, guys. 15 seconds. Mr. Defoin, Alpha first place. Second place, huge. 5 seconds. 4, 3, let's go, guys. 2, 1. Let's go. Last chance, last 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Mr. Alpha Sabaz. Sir, please introduce yourself. Alpha.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Yes, hello. You can
Can you
unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Okay, my connection is bad, I think. Do I sound okay?
You sound very well. Who are you?
Okay. Okay, I'm Alper. I'm based in Istanbul. I work in a company called EasyCo. Basically, it's a payment service provider. I've been working here for like 1.5 years, I think. Before that, I was working in a UX agency called User Spots. And that's my work experience, I guess.
Congratulations, and thank you very much for being on the session.
So now we want to transition into one of the 2 workshops. Workshop 1, the 5 stages of applied design thinking with none other than Federico Pizzuto. The second workshop is going to be on UX design, the success recipe with Emmanuel Militia, senior product designer at N26. All you need to do is to either assign yourself or drop W1 or W2 in the public chat so that Frederic Weimerskirch, Daniel Carlerai, or myself can assign you to one of the workshops. It's going to take a couple of minutes, but in 3 minutes, everybody will be assigned. So I leave it up to you. Either self-assign yourself by joining the breakout rooms, or just drop W1 or W2, and we do it for you. Talk to you in a bit.
Once again, I'm happy to be here. We're going to talk about today about the success recipe at N26. I will give you some brief insights how we do. I mean, it's only 30-minute session, but let's make it worth it. Yeah. My name is Emmanuel. I'm a lead product designer at Acquire. Prior to that, I was leading I was senior product designer and leading design system at N26. So yeah, I have a bit more focused knowledge when I work with Acquire, and I also had previous experience with more holistic knowledge with design system. I usually play this video, but I will skip it today since we start a little bit late, and I will share this at the end so that you can see. I really like this commercial of N26. For those of you who don't know, N26 started or was established in 2014. We only started in Europe, and now we are also part of we are active in US market in USA. Our offices are in Berlin, New York City, Barcelona, and Vienna. For those of you who answered the quiz, this was the correct answer. And we have more than 5 million customers. So yeah, when we do some changes, it affects a lot of people, and we need to be very cautious about it. Okay, but before I continue, okay. I would like to know if you can write me in the chat, where did you come from and what is your favorite fruit? So for example, I'm coming from Croatia, And my favorite fruit is mango. So if you can write in the chat, that would be great. I will try to open the chat. Oh, the same mango, nice. Okay. France and cherry, nice. Cherry and Russia. Okay, this is interesting. Kiwi, nice. Oh, all the nice fruits. Turkey and kiwi, yeah. Great. Okay, so next time when we have the session, I know what to buy for intro. Okay, let's go further. Thank you for your answers. So I would like to ask you what are the design principles for you, but I would not wait until you answer because I will answer this for you. So design principles are actually value statements that describe the specific goals or priorities which are essential to the success of a product. Yeah, it's very by the book description. But what I would say here is you can take out the most important stuff, which is like value statements. You need to have specific goals and you need to make them essential. Like what is the really essential thing for the success of your product? And this is description that that you can find on Nielsen Norman Group website. I think it's very accurate. I think it's very good to start with. So, and the next question would be, of course, why we would even use principles. So, what do you think? You can write me in chat, or you can open up your mic and then start talking. Like why we would use principles even. To frame, okay. Stay within standard expectations, okay. To guide all teams, to have guidance and goals, okay. To align firm, to form mutual global understanding of design, okay. Anyone else? 10 more seconds. Okay, cool. I think yeah, I really like when you do the presentation for me. So it's exactly the correct answer. I mean, everybody was on the right path. So we use principles for consistency and faster decision making. So you have a lot of teams that are working on the same product. So how can we make sure that they all have the same understanding? How can we make sure that the product is consistent? And when we face some kind of decisions, for example, are we going to focus more on branding, or are we going to focus on accessibility? Like, how can we make sure that we make the proper decision? Okay. Now you are almost warmed up. I see you're typing really nice. So today I'm going to share with you 4 principles that we are using at N26 when we are building our products. And every principle, I will start with the question. So be ready to type in your answers, and then I will explain a little bit more about this specific principle. Okay. So you have 100,000 euros. What would you do with it? What phone do you have? So the first question is, what would you do with 100,000 euros? And what would you do? What kind of phone do you have? So you can write, I don't know, crypto dot, I don't know, Samsung Galaxy or iPhone SE or whatever. Okay, so we have investment in crypto, S10, holiday phone, iPhone, okay. Huawei and iPhone Pro, okay. And what would you do with 100,000 euros? Give it to kids, okay. Collection, car investing, okay. Okay. OnePlus, nice. Okay, so our first principle is actually very focused on everything that you said here and everything that you answered in your first question. So you answered me that you are coming from different countries, that you like different fruits, that you would do different things with 100,000 euros, and that you all have different phones. Of course, we could see some patterns, but you all had some different different variations. And this is why the first principle is actually one size does not fit all. Which is that our users actually live in a different countries. They have different habits, they have different contexts and needs. And we need to be aware of that when we are designing. And at 1026, we are striving to create experience that is unique for our customers, for our users. And how we do that, for example, we have different tier options. So if you would like to have just virtual card and you don't want to have additional options, you don't need to have additional options, you will just use standard tier or standard account. If you would like to have a little bit more like spaces and stuff like that, you will use smart. If you travel more, of course, probably not now a lot, but in the future we will travel again, so you can use maybe you. And if you want to have all that, and if you have additional things that you want to have, then you will choose metal. There's also things that we do on micro level. So, for example, spaces. Spaces, we are aware that different people have different needs. So someone might say for the scooter, some people need shared space for their dog, some people need shared space for their vacation and stuff like that. So we try to make all those micro levels also very customizable. And as you all know, like there is tons of payment options. So we try to see, okay, what are the most used ones, what our users are requesting, because we know that someone will maybe pay with MoneyBeam, someone will maybe pay with bank transfer, someone will need to send a different currency to someone else. Others prefer to scan a QR code, while other people prefer typing your IBAN and stuff like that. So all those small details that we choose are actually giving our users options to be more, to have the more personalized experience. You can also have more contextual personalization. So it might happen that we are all okay with seeing our balance and our transactions at home because we are in the safe area. But what happens when you go outside, when you open your banking app in I don't know, train or subway or whatever? Like, we need to pay attention for this contextual personalization. So depending on where you are, we give you ability to hide your balance and to hide your transactions amounts. If you want to, of course, you can also show your balance when you need it. The next thing is, of course, languages. So we have a lot of different markets that we cover. So we need to think about what is the primary language, what is the language that people feel most safe. So it might happen that you live, for example, in Italy, but you feel most comfortable with Spanish language because this is your mother tongue. So we are thinking also on that level how to make this experience more personalized. If I have to conclude this principle, I would say that you will never cover all users and you will never cover all use cases. But if you focus on specific users, you always strive to make this personalized experience, because even though we are using the same product, we will be in different contexts, in different situations, in different needs. So let's give our users ability to make this product part of their lives and not just additional thing that they need to worry about. Okay. This would be the first principle, one size fit all. And let's go now to the second principle. So you again have 100,000 euros. So this is 200 already. How would you spend it? How would you decide what would you do with them? You can type in chat while I take a break. After discussion, conversation, some reflection, look at needs first. Okay. Invest in my company and hire a new TA. Okay. Okay. Involve my family. Okay. Make me a pleasure. Okay. What would be the anyone else? Opportunities and risk management. Okay. Don't have family. Okay. This is a good one. Balance between passion and risk management. Okay. Okay, let's go to my second two questions. Like, how would you identify new product and service opportunities? How would you decide which solution works better? So let's focus now on product or service. So how would you identify new product and services? Service opportunities, and how would you design sprint? Okay. Okay. Should get some client questions. Stay up to date with news, discussion with people, listen and prioritize, ask clients and prospects, design sprint. Okay. Okay, great. I think everything that you answered is correct, which leads me to the next principle, which is basically everything what you wrote here, like ask clients and prospects, ask family or don't ask family. After discussion, conversation, do some reflection, look at the needs first, and all the things that you wrote here is actually called research. And at N26, we like, as we said already in the previous session, that research actually informs decisions. So solutions come naturally when you ask the right questions and observe. So research, and then you will eventually know, okay, what to do next. At N26, we try to organize research or organize problems into different contexts. So if you, I don't know if you are familiar with, but there is this Sinofin problem context matrix that tells you we have different kind of contexts. So we have simple one, complicated, complex, and chaotic one. And when we are designing or when we are starting our discovery session, we always try to define, okay, what is something that we know and we are sure about? So this is basically known knowns. And then the second thing is, what do we know that we don't know? Okay, and then we put this into this category. And then the next thing is, okay, what do we don't know that we don't know? So this is a broad question. This is like, okay, how do we figure out what we currently don't know and go into more complicated category of known unknowns? And the last category is unknowable unknowns or chaos, which we try to avoid. But this is basically when something happens that was not planned. So, for example, I can give you a real life example is when a fire starts somewhere. So you have firefighters actually helping to navigate this chaos. The same is in the company. So yeah, so we try to put our problems in those contexts, and then we decide how to research for this specific context. And for how do we decide on the research is we have a lot of different ways of doing research, and this is from the book from Erica Hall. It's called Just Enough Research, and we pretty much use the same approach. So we have a generative or exploratory research when you want to know what's up with something. We have descriptive and explanatory research when we want to know what and how something happens, what happened, and stuff like that. Then we have evaluative when we want to know, are we getting close? So we know something, we prepared some kind of design, and we want to know, is this aligned with mental models of our users? And then at the end, we have causal one to know why this is happening. So we might observe someone or we might observe numbers, but we don't know why this is happening. So we are using causal research. And to to start with the research, we always do hypothesis-driven research, where we have this framework. I believe that you are familiar with this, where we set up things that we believe that will result in this outcome because of this reason. And we have our set of ways to track when we will know this is true, when we can move forward with the research. This is one example of car sorting that we did. We didn't know how to users organize topics. So we wanted to know how to do it, and we asked them, and they help us with the categorization of those cards. The next thing that I can show you here is, for example, our plan for transaction research. So you can see that we have at the beginning, first we do research what was done before, previous research, then we have analogous research, competitive analysis. Then we also have prototype and additional research. We are aligning with stakeholders. We are asking them questions and stuff like that. Okay, 10 more minutes left. I think we're going to need a bit more. Maybe can we ask to extend a few minutes more, if that's okay? Because we started a bit late. So yeah, and this is how we started on the left side, and on the right side how it's going. So yeah, I think it looks pretty neat now. And this is the quote that I like to show to the people regarding research. Is from McKinsey report. Is that the CEO of one of the world's largest banks spends a day a month with the bank's client and encourages all members of the C-suite to do the same. So basically, what they do the research and they do the empathy. So they're empathizing with their users. And I will conclude this principle with what was true today may not be true tomorrow. So by conducting research, you avoid decision based on guessing. So yeah, I would just encourage you do the research and then go to the next steps. Okay, let's go fast forward to principle number 3. I think we have now 13 minutes, which is enough, just enough to continue. Okay, so can you answer me? How should a bank make you feel in order for you to put your money with them? You can write me transparent, okay. Safe, okay. Trust, security. Instant, this is nice, okay. Anyone else? Have a strong capital, a good risk management, fast, of course, know what to do with my money, reliable, have a good uptime, no maintenance issues, and many features. Want to be treated well, okay. Okay, nice. Good rating, advices, fair. Okay, I would say, of course, all those questions that you answered are coming to actually the first few answers, which is we need to feel, secure, and we need to feel trust with the company that we are giving our money to handle with. So we say that security and clarity comes first. So when it comes to the people's money, privacy, clarity, and trust are non-negotiable. It's actually must-have, and this is what we are striving to do every day. We are all the time trying to make our product more safer and more clear and more simplified for our users. And if we just go back in the history, you will see that based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you will see that our system is aligned that way that every basic need, you need to involve somehow finances. And we, as a banking or fintech world, we're actually very, very close, or we are one of the key things that allows people to fulfill their safety needs, their psychological needs, their belongingness, esteem needs, and self-actualization. So when we do things wrong, we are hitting in the most basic thing, in the primary things in the people, and they feel most vulnerable there. So therefore, we need to be careful how we treat our users and their money, of course. So to be able to have the security and clarity, we have all those elements in the company. So those are legal regulation, communication with the users. What kind of way we are presenting things to our users. What kind of visuals do we do? Is this clear enough? We need to take care of data security. We need to take care of what happens if things go wrong. We need to have very good customer support, and many, many more things. So those are all the things that you wrote in the chat that we need to take care of so that people feel trust and security and clarity. So my conclusion here in this part would be that users trust you, and your top priority is to keep that trust. So anything that you do, you can go back and see this basic human needs and see how your product is actually affecting those needs. And then you will see that when you affect those needs, you also need to make sure that people trust you, because if they don't trust you, you will not be able to proceed with your business, right? And the last but not least is principle number 4. And my last question to you is, how would you describe a great product or service in 2 words? How many minutes do we still have? Can someone find out? 6 minutes, thank you. Okay. It needs to be usable and useful, fast and reliable, easy to use, okay? Solves the problem, okay? Useful, easy to use, okay? Convenient, inclusive, okay? Surprisingly fit for purpose, okay? Anyone else? Okay, I would say that you are all right, and I will say that this was a trick question, of course, because my answer would be in 3 words, which is seamless holistic experience. So this is one of the principles that we are also using more and more. So we need to enable our users to explore products and features in the right moment, and it needs to be intuitively along their financial journey. So they don't need to feel like they are interrupted in something. They don't need to feel like they are switching lanes or, requesting that they need to change from this device to this device. So everything what they do, how they interact with your brand, with your product, needs to be seamless. So when we look at N26, so we have physical cards, we have web app, we have native app, we have our website, we have our commercials or our promotional materials, we have our Instagram filters, for example, for Women's Day, the few last week, and all those things. When user is interacting with your product, with your brand, they need to feel seamless. So they should feel like it's the same, it's the part of the same ecosystem. And if you look at this holistic experience, what users see is just this, what is on the surface. It's what I like to call brand outcome. And everything that you do below will affect things that happens above, and vice versa. So your personal outcome, your personal motives that you want to progress to, that your career wants to go to, will influence team outcome, and team outcome and motivation will influence segment will influence domain will influence product will influence company, and this will then eventually be brand that users see. And the same goes in the back. So what happens with the users, how they react on your brand, will affect company, will affect product, will affect domain, segment, and team. So this holistic experience is not one person job, it's collective. And unfortunately, if one makes mistakes, everybody sees it. What we do at N26, of course, with the basic stuff, we have some brand guidelines, design system. We have also our company values, our design product principles, and all those things help us to be more connected across different domains, across different segments, so that we eventually have the same experience for our user. We also try to use similar processes. We use a lot of collaboration. You can see some examples where creative studio or brand team is collaborating with product design team. A lot of, for example, on this image, you can see how we are collaborate to make logos for our home feed. For trial version, only 500 logos. Maya and I collaborated on color system because it's also brand and product topic. So all those things are very important, and the seamless collaboration below the surface will enable you seamless holistic experience above the surface. I forgot how many minutes still we have. Can you show me again? 3 minutes. Excellent. So I managed to fit everything in 30 minutes, 33. So if you look at all those 4 principles, we can say them in one sentence. So if you do research, you will figure out that one size does not fit all. And during this research, you will also figure out that if you are dealing with people's money, security and clarity comes first. And to be able to provide everything from principle 1 to 3, you need to have a seamless holistic experience for your users. Yeah, now it's your turn. Design principles for your company. Design principles for your product. Don't do it by yourselves. Share this initiative with the whole company and start using those principles in your daily decisions and your daily product thinking activities and stuff like that. Yeah, thank you for your attention. We're having a lot of open topics or a lot of open positions. And yeah, if you want to join us, feel free to view this link. And yeah, I welcome you or thank you for this interaction. And it was very fun from my side. Thank you.
Do a quick round so I know about you, just a little line. Would you? Who want to start?
I can start. I'll break the ice. Hi, everybody. I am Gigi. I also work at N26, and I was supporting my colleagues today. I am a bit of a designer wannabe because I'm not in the design team, but I work in innovation anyhow. And so I just thought that I would join and see where what kind of topics we can touch base on with this workshop.
Cool, thanks. Welcome. Who's next?
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm at the start of the alphabet, so I'll go first. I'm Alex. I'm a technical project program manager, and I'm based in Luxembourg.
Welcome.
I'm Tuba. I'm working at Turkish Airlines. I'm a junior UX designer in here, and I need to learn some more things. That's why I'm here. I'm happy to see you and meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Evelyn. I'm working as a product strategist for a fintech here in Luxembourg.
Cool. Seems interesting.
I will be next then. Hi, I'm Nina. I'm working for an insurance company in Belgium. I'm a business developer and I'm doing a lot of innovation. So I think this is really interesting.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lauren. I'm working in Luxembourg, or currently actually looking for new opportunities in Luxembourg as a product owner or senior analyst, preferably in the fintech and UX spaces. So for me, this was particularly interesting. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have is UX design against regulatory requirements. And it's one of my little bugbears in life. I would love to see us be able to simplify this no matter what. So yeah, interested in everyone's and anyone's feedback on that subject. And I guess N26, you might have a lot to tell us. But that's me.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Danilo. I'm from Luxembourg. I'm a country manager of my company in Italy. And I'm not a UX expert, but I'm really interested about this this whole ecosystem, this whole environment. So I'm here to learn something more about that.
Cool. Welcome. Ciao.
Ciao, Federico.
Michael, Fred, someone?
Sure. So I'm Frederick. I'm the community manager at the Loft, actually. I was supporting my colleagues in the background with the IT support. So I was assigning people, and now I'm also recording the session. So that's me.
Welcome here. Michael, you there? No.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Hello, I'm Michael. I'm not a UX designer. I'm actually a digital marketer for a fintech company in Luxembourg.
Welcome. Okay, cool. Thank you for your introduction. So at least we know a bit more about each other. This workshop is okay. It's really small because obviously we don't have so much time. And generally speaking, this type of activity requires a lot more hours to be able to actually properly set up and work. So I will start with a little presentation. So let me share my screen. Okay, let me know when you see it. Yes?
Yeah, cool. We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So the workshop topic is about the applied design thinking. Design thinking, let's say it's a common known word now, and it's easy to use to talk about it, but it's really versatile. What I'm trying to do with this workshop is to try to give an idea how it might be applied. There's no one straight rule for that, but the good thing about this is that I like this this quote by Thomas Watson: "Good design is good business." Why I love it? Because it's actually telling us and telling everyone that okay, design is not just one part of it, but it's actually supporting the business, and so we need to have a voice and be able to actually properly work out solutions together with the business and not by committee. What will be about this? So it's about what is design thinking and why design thinking is important, so the benefit of it, and then there's a little bit of workshop and some takeaways. Unfortunately, we are remote, so remote is a bit different and we need to adapt a bit. But just to go into what design thinking is basically an iterative process for creative problem solving. So it's mainly identify mainly generally speaking, five phases, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. It came for quite sometimes in the past from Stanford Design Schools and IDEO, that actually was the first to standardize it and start promoting it as a tool for work and producing good results. As we can see in these charts, each phase is addressing different scope and needs, and they have different methods or opportunity. Now I'm exiting a bit because when I present, I don't see you at all. So I don't know if you are trying to say anything. So please speak by voice if you have something to say, or it's not clear, or the voice is going away because the connection is bad. So let me know in this way. Thank you. Back here. As we can see, each phase has different scope and opportunities and to learn and practices. The empathize, this is just a sample, so interviews, shadowing, seek to understand, non-judgmental, define, which is about building personas, decisions, challenges, pain points, understanding the users, and define the problem, and understand exactly what problem we want to solve and work on. Ideate, which is where the fan kind of start for most of the people, which is about start brainstorming and generating ideas, where we can actually analyze and try to connect the dots with all the information that we collected and know. And there are several techniques that help us to build on top of the knowledge and the others' ideas as well in a positive way. The prototype, which is coming out from the ideations with an agreement on what makes sense to explore, we can start a prototype version that might be related to digital product, but not only. Design thinking is really a process that can be applied to any type of problem, not only digital products. So storyboards, mockup, keep it simple, fail fast, iterate quickly. The main idea here is to quick and easily reach the test phase where we can actually understand if what we thought and what we ideate and try to produce a solution is actually a solution and working, and then iterate and start again. It's really iterative, so it's not one way only. And it can happen that this going back and forth happen across all the phases. We don't need to reach the test phase to go back because we didn't understood something different, and then we start back. But it can happen while we ideate. We might see that we are missing information, so we can go back to the empathize and define. So we need more research. These are different visual representation, or exactly the same. I'm showing you these variants just to because I know that this might be, especially for who is not practicing this or working on this always, it might seem a bit overwhelming and unclear. So hopefully these different type of visualizations might help to try to clarify the things. Here it's more probably realistic, so it's tried to convey the sense of iterations. That's why it's circular, but the phases are exactly the same. So empathize, which is about research and understanding. Define, which is about combining and collect all the insights from the research. Ideate, so generate ideas. Prototype, and then test. This is the design sprint variant. As you can see, it changes a bit despite the visualizations in terms of naming, and seems like there are different phases, but because here it seems there are 6, but in reality there's no differences. It's just a different way of calling it. So the understand phase, which is the empathize phase, in another one. The define and diverge is there. Decide as well. Prototype and validate. Validate is the test. So it's nothing new. It's just the way it combines the steps that might be a little bit different. Why design thinking? Okay, design thinking, it's important because it aims to solve concrete human need, because it's user-centered approach. So we start with the user in mind, and we try to understand the needs and the jobs that the user needs to perform. We create alignment and generate knowledge with the design thinking, because we work together with other people. It's a moment of collaboration. Where everyone has the opportunity to share his own personal knowledge, and whatever it came out, it generates additional knowledge for the entire group. It leads to more innovative solutions through collaborations. So it means that we can working together with different type of people and expertise. We can unlock new possibilities and probably innovative solutions to problems that are already out there and not yet solved as they must be. It's user-centric. So as we said, it starts with the user in mind. That's why it starts with understanding and empathize. So it's important to be, the sentence is welcome mind and your customer shoes. So try to actually understand what the user is going through and what it needs to achieve. And do you have anything else to add? You're free to do. So I'm giving you the chance because I assume that you already are aware of a lot of this because you're interested in it. So I didn't went through all on purpose. You want to say anything? Silence. Scared. Okay. Oops, pardon. So there are some examples I just named too because the time is limited, or what might generate the implementations of this type of process. One example everyone knows is just Airbnb. So Airbnb, they were struggling in the beginning, or selling their advertisements, and they didn't understand why until they start navigating the sites from the user perspective. And then they realized that there were a lot of missing points on what was the needs and expected informations to be discovered in terms of type of images or information's missing, feedback from others, so something that was able to actually connect with the user. And that what they did without having any proof of concept of data, they just bought a photo camera and they went out on taking shots in a professional way for the apartment and the real estates, and they introduced feedbacks and other mechanisms, and this actually leads to a huge increase in sales, and that leads then to their actual success, and that also becomes the foundations on the way they work, because they were able actually to understand that building on top of that they were able to build successful product and businesses. Non-fungible token, I think now they are on the mouth of everyone, thanks for the recent sales. It's another example of the use of the crypto. So everything started with Bitcoin, but then there were different type of usage of the same technology and applied to different type of needs and markets, and the applications of this logic and to what is digital art, etc., to give value and create a system to support it. Actually, it's innovative, and it actually unlock a lot of possibilities, and that is now a reality. So I think it's an interesting way to look at it as well. Workshop is something that in the past they were like this, with people in the same room physically, and they were nice because there were a lot of energy going on, and there were more easy way. The way it is now, it's a bit different, as you can experience right now. So rules for the workshops normally is be brave, embrace ambiguity, because we don't know what the outcome might be, and so we need to be open to other contributions. Defer judgment, so it's not a judgment thing, it's just a way to unlock creativity. We need to take risk and encourage wild ideas, because in this way we can actually identify the better routes. Yes, and so we need to build on top of the others, so not try to promote our own ideas only. Stay focused and be visual as much as possible, and go for quantity. So we need to generate the most idea possible. There are different type of possibilities that we can go through. It can be a high level type of explorations, or it can be a more dedicated and specific. Here are a couple of examples. One, it's about child remote connected with schools, because with the COVID they were forced to be connected, but there's a lot of problem with that, which is about distractions, hours in front of a monitor, lack of qualified support at home, mood. On the other side, one, it's about what happens recently in the crypto world with everything that happens with Kraken and Binance. They were forced to refund users because of what happened. There are smaller opportunity and focus that that might be like you have a legacy product that doesn't require a valid email for registrations, but you want still to have a communication channel with your user, and the email is not possible because you want to encourage engagement. So how you achieve that? Or you have a lot of traffic that is not converting despite the user are coming back. So whatever might be a valid theme to ideate around and create a workshop. The basic point is that you just need to start imagining being your customer. So what does day in a life of the target will be? What are fears and aspirations? What they might not understand, what they might not understand about them, and create an empathy map around it. So what it did say is that it guides you towards the ideations or solution, because it's for them, not for you. We need to define a point of view, which is an actionable and meaningful problem statement and example. So it's more or less in this format. So user, whatever he is, needs a way to do something we need to describe because of based on the information that we discovered. So an example is for the students saying, so remote students needs a way to get answers from their teachers quickly, because when they get stuck on an assignment, they get frustrated and often give up. And this helps us then to unlock then the following part, which is the how might be questions. That is the way we reframe the challenge in a way that invite actions. An example for the how might questions could look like, how might we make it easy for students to engage with their instructors? Now, I want to go here because there are, as you can see, there are really a lot of different ways that we can structure a workshop. In a classic way, what we do is that we go through persona. So we define them. In our case, the people. Can you name quickly what might be what students might feel or says and do? What might be their pain points for what we talk about right now? No one? Raise your hand, speak through. So what might be a pain points of the students that cannot get in touch with the teacher? So what is? No? No hearing? Okay. So an example might be, okay, they feel disconnected, they don't have, they're lacking social connections, they cannot get easy access because they are not visible to the teacher. And these helps us as well. So this is another example, which is design thinking canvas. Mural has this already done, and it's easy to guide it, which help us to go through the vision, which is important to understand where we have, what vision we have for the solutions, what the impact we want, so how we are going to measure what we want to change, what if there are metrics of measure of success. The people, that's why we have the persona. So who needs to be involved to achieve our results and who we are designing for. Challenges, which is about identify, prevent, what might be the challenges that we need to overcome to be able to reach our goal. Thinking on the steps, the empathize part is about defining the persona and the empathy map, understanding the user and doing research, and clarify the problem. So we need, this is the one of the most important part where we should try to focus a lot more. So what are the things that we learned about? So what are the opportunity and what are the knowledge that we can generate? Because these helps us then define what the problem that we want to attract. If we are not clear here, if we are not able to define a proper problem, that doesn't lead us to a proper solutions and force us to reiterate. An example, I'm paused, right? You see me or you see my screen? Just because I don't have
I can see you.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell me what might be a problem? So we saw that an example, the teaching in remote teaching is an issue for the students because they can't have the proper support at home like they are in school. How this might be, so if we wanted to formulate this in how might be questions, how can this be translated in how might be as an actionable question?
From the point of teacher or from the point of
For the point of the student.
It may be hard to focus on studying while at home. Like us, while we are studying while we are trying to work at home, it's a bit hard to focus on because there are too many things to distract us in home, like some sounds or some people coming, going. That's why you may be disrupted easily as a student.
So the question is how might we reduce the distraction?
Yeah, how might we reduce the distraction of students by the environmental
so keeping
environmental distractions.
Keeping that as the foundation for this, this becomes our problem, so that we start ideate solution for. So we start to generate as much idea as possible. Now, if you can generate, there are different methods here. So like 10 ideas in 10 minutes, or a lot of different type of explorations possible. We cannot go through it if not by voice, unfortunately, because of the time. Can you try to generate how much idea you can? So who want to start? How might we reduce distractions and noise at home for the kids?
Turn off the TV.
Okay.
Noise cancelling headphone?
I didn't hear, sorry.
I said noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah, cool.
A separate office where you could just focus on learning.
Office?
Well, office, I mean a room for his
okay.
student, where you could just focus on that, which would be not his own room, nor another room where there are other distractions, just focusing on learning.
What if we want to have them concentrate despite the noise that it's outside? What is actually attracting connections? The attentions of the kids. It's closing the room. But did we use 30 minutes? Because it seems less. Unfortunately, we can go through, but another way it might be just to have a different perspective. And that's why it's going wild and try to unleash, remove all the limitations that we might have and talk with others. As an example, maybe it's not the room or the place, maybe it's the tool. Maybe we need, I don't know, a gamified tool where it's like game experience. So we know that when they are engaged with games, they don't even hear the parents from anyone else, so they're totally focused, or might be a different type of approach.